I can't hear you.
No, ma'am.
Just give me a minute. Okay, so let's start our topic. So in the last class, we were doing understanding quadrilaterals, right? We studied some basic concepts of quadrilaterals, and we were doing questions regarding them, right? We did various types of quadrilaterals. Okay, do you guys have any doubts regarding the previous topic that I taught you?
No.
No, ma'am.
Yes, Amar, you?
No, ma'am.
No doubts. Shall we move ahead then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we shall be studying some special parallelograms. Okay. In some special parallelograms, the first parallelogram that we shall have is rhombus. So what happens in a rhombus is we have a figure something like this. Okay, like a tilted square is known as a rhombus. So this is A, B, C, and D. Basically, AD side will be parallel to BC side and AB will be parallel to DC. That is, what is the first point? The first point is opposite sides are parallel. Okay. Then next point is opposite sides are equal. Okay, now you would say that these two properties fit for a square as well, right? For example, this is a square. So in a square also the opposite sides are parallel and they are equal. This is true for square also, but how is then a rhombus different to a square? See, can
Ma'am,
you? Yes.
ma'am, in square, all sides are equal. In rhombus, like opposite sides are equal.
Not really. Basically, here also all sides are equal. You can write all sides instead of opposite. See, in a square, we had 90-degree angles. Two adjacent sides were intersecting each other at 90-degree angle. But here the angle is not 90-degree. Can you see? The angle is not 90 degrees. So this is the major difference between a square and a rhombus. That in a square, the adjacent sides of the vertex join together at 90-degree angles. But in a rhombus, that is not the case. Now we come to another property for a rhombus, which is the talking about the diagonals of a parallelogram. Okay, like I have one of the diagonal is AC and one of the diagonal is BC, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Just give me a second. Okay. Now what happens in a rhombus is, let's consider that this is point O. So AC will be a perpendicular bisector of BD. What is see, this is the sign for perpendicular bisector. What is the meaning of perpendicular bisector? What is the meaning of a bisector first, tell me?
Ma'am, like diagonals bisect each other
Ma'am,
means like
diagonal.
they cross each other.
Okay, so bisector means cutting each other. For example, I have this line and I have this line. So these are cutting each other, so they are bisector of each other. Okay, so in order to cross two lines, whenever they're crossing each other, that is known as a bisector. What is the meaning of perpendicular? What is the meaning of perpendicular? Perpendicular means 90 degree. Okay, whenever you see the term perpendicular, you should know 90 degree. That means these angles, the angle between like AOB will be equal to this angle. Angle AOD will be equal to angle DOC, will be equal to angle BOC, and all of them will be 90 degree. That means AC is cutting BD at 90 degrees. Okay, so that is why I will call that the diagonals of a rhombus, you can note it down, the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors. Okay, do you understand this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
very nice. Now I will give you a question. So the question says, you have a rhombus which is E, C, I, R. Okay, and you have the bisectors, the diagonals basically. Let's consider this is point 2. This is X. This over here is X. This line is 12. This is 5 centimeters and this is Y. Right? This is 13 centimeters and this is Z. Now you have to find X, Y, and Z. So can you do this question?
Yes. Ma'am,
Say, what will X be?
5.
Yeah, X will be equal to 5. Why? Because see, X is OE, which is equal to OI, which is equal to 5. So that is why X is 5. Then what is Y equal to?
12.
Yeah, 12. And what is Z equal to?
13.
13. Very nice. So a very simple question, just to analyze the concept.
No, I have one doubt, ma'am. How did we get Z as 13?
In a rhombus, all the sides are equal. So one side is given to you 13. So this, all of them are equal. So all the sides will be 13 only.
Okay.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay, now we will talk about a rectangle. The properties of rectangle are very simple.
In a rectangle, two sides are parallel.
Not
Opposite
only
sides are
two
parallel.
sides, opposite sides are parallel. We will not say two sides are parallel. Two sides are parallel
Opposite
in a
sides.
trapezium. Okay, so first property is
Opposite sides are parallel.
okay. The second property is all the vertex are again 90 degree. Okay. Then next is, okay, what about the diagonals? See what happens, the diagonals of a rectangle are equal in length. The third property will be, if I see this point as O, so I will have AC will be equal to BD. Okay. Do you understand this?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Next is written opposite. Okay, one more property about diagonals, that they are again bisecting each other. Okay, are they just bisectors or are they perpendicular bisector?
Perpendicular bisector.
Perpendicular bisector.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
No, they are just bisectors. Like this angle and this angle will be equal, and this angle will be equal, but they all will not be equal to 90 degree. Okay, see this one, the green angles will be smaller and the red angles will be quite bigger. They are not equal and they're not even 90. So it is just bisector and not perpendicular bisector. For rhombus we have perpendicular bisector, right? I'll give you one
Yes,
question.
sir.
The question is, so this is T N E R. This is one diagonal. This is another diagonal. This is given to you a rectangle. This is point O. This line PO is equal to 3x plus 1 and OR is equals to 2x plus 4. Right? Do you understand what is given to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have to find X.
Ma'am,
Okay,
where is? Oh,
find
okay. X.
X is there in the equation.
Ma'am, I know this, ma'am. Can I tell?
Yes.
Ma'am, since TO is equals to 3x plus 1, so OE is also equals to TO. So, like we have to find, so TO equals to OE, so 3x plus 1 plus 3x plus 1.
What will it equal to? You have to find X.
Okay.
Say, see, diagonals of a rectangle are equal in length. Just use this property. The diagonals are equal in length. That means this diagonal will be equal to this diagonal. See, one diagonal is PE
Yes, ma'am.
and another diagonal is NR. So if
So
TE is equal to
equals
NR,
to
that
NR.
means half of TE will be equal to half of NR. What is half of TE? Half of TE is PO. And what is half of NR? Half of NR is OR. That means PO is equal to OR. Hence, TX plus 1 will be equal to 2x plus 4. Right? You can solve it. X will be equal to 3. Okay, now we shall come to the next question. Now I'll teach you about square. Let's consider that this is a square T L E B. Okay, so first of all, in a square, opposite sides are parallel. Okay, then second is all sides are equal. Then angle T is equal to angle L is equals to angle E is equals to angle B, and all of them are equal to 90 degree. Right? Any other property can you see?
Ma'am,
Okay, so let's talk
opposite
about
angles are equal.
what opposite angles. All angles are equal.
Okay.
See, now we have diagonals. We'll talk about the diagonals. So in diagonals, what we'll have is we have one diagonal as BL and the other diagonal is TE. So BL will be perpendicular bisector of TE. That means this angle will also be 90 degree, right? It
Yes,
will
ma'am.
also be equal to 90 degree. If I say it as O, that means again OB will be equal to OL and OT will be equal to OE, right? Very basic properties. Shall we come to the question now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's do one thing. Before coming to questions, for this section, you have very basic questions, right? So I'll just draw a table for you in a simpler format. Like I will write the name of the quadrilateral over here. Then I will write the property over here. Right. So the first one is a parallelogram. What does a parallelogram look like? Looks like this. Okay. It does look like this.
Should we write the property?
If you want, then you can note down this table as well.
Ma'am, I know the property of parallelogram, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me what are the properties.
Ma'am,
Let's just
opposite sides are parallel and equal.
okay. Okay, let's do one thing. I'll ask you the question, then you have to tell me. Okay, what about the opposite sides? They are
Parallel and
parallel. Okay. What about diagonals? Amar, you tell me.
Diagonals bisect each other.
Yeah, just bisect, not perpendicular bisector, just bisect each other. Okay, so these are the two properties that you need to learn about parallelogram. Now, next we have is rhombus. Now, tell me about rhombus. Amar, you tell me what are the properties of rhombus? Is there okay? First, tell me, is there anything different from parallelogram?
Yes.
What is the difference? Opposite sides are parallel and equal.
Diagonals perpendicular bisect each other.
No, first we talk about sides. For sides, tell me, is there anything different from parallelogram?
Yes.
What is the difference?
In rhombus, all sides are equal. In parallelogram, opposite sides are equal.
Okay, so basically, opposite sides are parallel, right?
Yes.
All sides are equal. Okay, Aswal, tell me about the diagonal.
and diagonals bisect each.
No,
Diagonals are
tell me
That
what was the
and
word that?
diagonals are perpendicular to each other.
Yeah, perpendicular bisector.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll write it like this: AC perpendicular bisector of BD. Right? What is the difference between bisector and perpendicular bisector?
perpendicular bisector means 90 degrees,
Yeah,
and
they're cutting each other equally as well as at 90 degrees. So this is a rectangle. Now, what are the properties of rectangle?
Rectangle, opposite
Opposite
sides,
sides are equal.
and parallel.
Just give me a minute.
Ma'am, rectangle and parallelogram almost has the same properties, right?
Yeah, almost the same properties. What is the different properties?
Adjacent and no.
See, so you can write like all properties of parallelogram. This is the short form of writing parallelogram, right? Two parallel lines and then GM, short form. But don't use this in your examinations. Just use it when you're practicing. Okay, what about the diagonals?
Diagonals are perpendicular.
No,
No.
they are equal.
Diagonals in
Diagonals
a
are equal.
parallelogram, diagonals are equal. In parallelogram, diagonals bisect each other.
No, diagonals are not equal in a parallelogram.
No,
Diagonals are
in a
equal in a
parallelogram, diagonals
rectangle.
bisect each other.
Yeah, they bisect each other. Here the diagonals are equal. Then all angles are at 90 degree,
Yes.
right? Angle A, angle B, angle D, and angle C. Then next you have square.
And square, all sides are equal.
Okay,
All
all
angles are equal. And all
all
angles are equal. Diagonals perpendicular to each other.
First, tell me about sides.
All sides, all angles are equal.
Okay. Now listen, if I mix the properties of parallelogram, rhombus, and rectangle, will I get the properties of a square?
Yes, ma'am.
See, in a parallelogram or opposite sides are parallel, in a square also opposite sides are parallel, the diagonals bisect each other, here also diagonals bisect each other, opposite sides are equal, here also opposite sides are equal. In a rhombus all sides are equal, here also all sides are equal. All the diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other, here also the diagonals perpendicularly bisect each other. Okay,
Yes.
then for a rectangle, diagonals are equal, here also diagonals are equal. So basically, when you mix the properties of a parallelogram, rhombus, and a square, right?
And a rectangle.
I'm sorry, yeah, a rectangle. Now we come to kite.
Trapezium. Okay.
Trapezium is not really there in your syllabus. You don't have questions from trapezium.
And kite adjacent sides are equal.
Okay, so what about the diagonals, Amar?
Bisect each other.
Okay, and are they perpendicular?
No.
So diagonals are perpendicular bisector. Yes, they are perpendicular. Diagonals are
Perpendicular means like 90 degrees, right?
yeah, like they. It's like this. You have this diagonal, and you have another diagonal. See, you have 90-degree angle. That means diagonals are perpendicular. They are bisecting. They are cutting each other at 90 degrees. So they are perpendicular bisector. Okay. Then the
Yes.
angles, it can depend on variation. Like we have different kinds of kites. So, but most of the time, like this angle, angle A is equal to angle C.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But angle B is not equal to angle D. Like this angle and this angle will not be equal.
Why, ma'am?
Okay. They are not equal. Why? We don't have the orientation as such.
Okay. Ma'am, since adjacent sides are equal, so A and B are equal.
No, wait. You're getting confused between the concepts. Listen carefully. Side is a different thing. Angle is a different thing. Right? You have AB is equal to AC and AD is equal to CD. That's it. Okay. But
Okay.
what happens here is this, and see, you have a broader, like they are far apart, but over here they are closer together, right? The two lines are closer together downwards, but they're far apart at the topmost surface of the kite. So that is why this angle B and angle D, they are not equal. But angle C
Okay.
and angle A kind of form a same combination. Okay.
Okay.
So that is why angle A and angle C will be equal, but angle B and angle D will not be equal. Do you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I shall give you a few questions.
And trapezium.
Trapezium, I told you it's not there in your syllabus.
Uh,
It's not there in your syllabus. You don't need to study about the properties of a trapezium. Okay, you have to state true and false. It's you think all rectangles are squares?
false.
False.
Okay. All rhombuses are parallelogram.
False.
Amar, what about you? Think?
True.
Yeah, it's true. All
Ma'am,
squares.
all
I'll,
rhombuses are parallelogram.
I'll explain you it. First, let me write out the question. All squares are rhombuses and also rectangles. Then D is all squares are not parallelograms. All kites are rhombuses. Just a minute, let me find more questions. Okay, let's discuss. Let's just discuss first these. So all rectangular squares, true or false?
False.
False.
Why false?
Ma'am, because like in a
Yeah.
rectangle,
See,
opposite
what
sides.
happens in a rectangle, only the opposite sides are equal, but in squares, all sides are equal. So all rectangles are squares, false. But if I reverse the question, if I say all squares are rectangles, it will be true.
True.
Why? Because what is the property of square? Square means all sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel. So all squares are kind of rectangle also, because rectangle also has this property only now. What is the property of rectangle? Opposite sides are parallel
Yes.
and they are equal. So that is what's happening in square as well. So all rectangles are square, false. All squares are rectangles, true. All rhombuses are parallelogram, true. What are the properties of parallelogram? See, in rhombus and parallelogram, we have the same properties. Opposite sides are parallel and equal. Opposite sides are parallel and equal. Diagonals bisect each other. Diagonals bisect each other. So all rhombus are parallelograms. True. Okay. All squares and rhombuses are and also rectangles. Yes, true. Are you able to understand these?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All squares are not parallelogram. False. All squares are parallelogram. Why? Because the opposite sides are parallel. That is what's happening in a square. So all kites are rhombus.
True.
Why true?
No,
And
ma'am,
because
false.
kites and ball.
In a rhombus, all sides are equal, but in a kite, all sides are not equal.
Mhm. And
Okay?
so all rhombuses are squares, right?
No, all squares are rhombuses,
Oh, okay.
right? Are you able to understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all kites are rhombus, false. All rhombus are kites, true. Do you understood this?
Yes, ma'am.
All parallelogram are trapezium, true. All square are trapezium, true. Okay, it was not there, but we have a question, so I'll tell you the properties of trapezium. See, what happens in a trapezium is, so this is a trapezium, A, B, C, and D. So what happens in the trapezium? Two sides are parallel to each other.
And two sides are not parallel.
Only one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Right? That means only AB is parallel to BC. See, we have how many pair of opposite sides? In a quadrilateral, we have always two pairs of opposite sides. Okay. But here only one pair of opposite sides are parallel. The other pair are not parallel. Okay. So this is
Yes, ma'am.
property of
Trapezium.
trapezium. So all parallelograms are trapezium. Okay. What is the parallelogram? Parallelogram is like this. So in parallelogram, okay, what is the question says all parallelogram are trapezium. Look at the property of parallelogram. In a parallelogram,
It's true. It is true.
opposite sides are parallel. What is the property of trapezium? Is it fulfilling the property of trapezium? Yes. In a trapezium, we need only one pair of opposite sides are parallel. Yes, it is fulfilling the property. One pair of opposite sides. It has, in fact, it has both of them. So all
Ma'am, so
parallelograms are.
trapezium does not have diagonals?
No, you don't need to study about trapezium so much. I'm just telling you because there is one question related to it. Do not study diagonals. No need, just the sides. All squares are trapezium. True. Why? Because in a trapezium, what we need, one pair of opposite sides should be parallel. So see, in a square, we have one pair of opposite sides parallel. In fact, we have two pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So this is also true. You understand these questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I shall give you another question. We have identify
Ma'am, I have some doubt about the ma'am, in some question like ratio comes, ma'am. I have like kind of doubt in those questions.
which type of question? Like, give me an example.
Ma'am, one example is like find the sides and like ratio is given 3:2 like that.
Okay, so like for example, you have this a rectangle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll frame a question. It is given A, B, C, D. You have been given that the ratio of adjacent sides is 5:4 and perimeter is 90 centimeter. Find all sides. Okay, like this type of question.
Yes, ma'am.
I've just now framed it. So what we will do
Wait,
is, it is,
ma'am, can I go check if this is the kind of question?
yeah, you can.
Can I come back? Yes, ma'am, same. But shape is not given.
No problem. You can just look here. I've just framed this question on my own only. So you can tell me your question as well. Just listen to it first. You'll be able to understand. So the ratio of adjacent side is given. Okay, 5:4. That means let's consider this is 5x. Whenever ratio is given, just add x to the ratio. So let's consider this is 5x and this is 4x, because obviously length is 5 and breadth will be 4x. Now, if this is 5x, this will also be 5x and this will be 4x. Right, now perimeter is given to you 90 centimeter. Now what is the perimeter? Perimeter is generally sum of all sides. Okay, so just do the sum of all sides. 5x plus 4x plus 5x plus 4x. This is the sum of all sides. It should be equal to 90 centimeter, because perimeter is 90 centimeters. So you will have 5 plus 5 will be 10 plus 18x will be 90. Then you will have 28x will be equal to 90. X will be equal to 90 upon 28. 45/14. Okay, so value of x is 45/14. If x is 45/14, what will be the length be? Length was 5x. That means length will be 5 into 45/14. You can solve this. And what will be the breadth? Breadth will be 4x.
Or
4x will be 4 into 45/14. 90/7. Okay, and this you can solve. So this way you can solve such questions.
okay, ma'am.
Amma,
Now,
you can pay attention. This is an important question. Pay attention.
now one more question, ma'am. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, like in that question, there is like the four angles of a quadrilateral are the ratio 6:9 is to 10 is to 11. Find the measures.
6:9 is to 10 is to 11. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the? It is a quadrilateral. So what is the sum of the angles of a quadrilateral?
Ma'am, some of the angles are 360.
360 degree. So
Yes, ma'am.
what you can do is just do like 6x plus 9x plus 10x plus 11x will give you 360 degree. Just find the value of x and substitute in all of them. You'll get your answer.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, and last question, like in each interior angle of a regular polygon is a specific number. Find the number of its sides.
So what? Just this much is the question.
Yes, ma'am.
No, there must be more to the question. Read the question again.
Ma'am, each interior angle of a regular polygon is like a specific number. Then find the
What is
number
the
of its
specific
sides.
number?
Ma'am, 140.
Yeah, so why are you saying specific number? 140 is given to you. So
Yes, ma'am.
each interior angle is 140 degree. Okay, so if you have the interior angle, can you find the exterior angle? This is the interior angle. Can you find the exterior angle? How do you find the exterior angle?
The sum of interior angle and exterior angle is equals to 180.
Yeah, so what will be the exterior angle? 40 degree.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the formula of sides, number of sides? How do we calculate when we have the exterior angle?
Ma'am,
360/40 you will do. We'll have 9.
okay, ma'am.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? Aman, you can also bring up your doubts if you have any.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ask.
Ma'am,
No.
ma'am, three angles of a quadrilateral are 120, 60, and 50. Find the fourth angle.
Tell me how will you find, let's consider the fourth angle is x. What is the sum
Ma'am,
of these
50,
two
ma'am,
angles?
50, 50.
Yeah, tell me. It will be equal to 360 degree. Can you not find x?
Yes, ma'am.
Simple. You do it like this.
Okay, ma'am. Now my doubts are done.
Amar, what about you?
No.
Amar, your voice is breaking.
I don't have any doubt.
Okay. So let's move ahead. The question that I was given was identify all the quadrilaterals that have number A, four sides of equal length, and number two, four right angles.
Ma'am,
Tell-
can I see it?
First solve both of the questions, then tell me the answers.
Yes, ma'am. Found.
Done? Amar, you?
Ma'am, four right angles means like diagonals, right?
No, not diagonals. Four right angles. That means all sides, all four angles are right angles.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Ma'am, done.
Yes, tell me, Amar.
Ma'am, A is
Wait.
square.
B is
Ma'am, B is rectangle and square.
B is
Okay.
rhombus and rectangle and square.
No. B is just rectangle.
Oh, rectangle and square.
It can't be rhombus. In a rhombus, these angles are not 90-degree. They're just normal angles of any value. Okay. This will be square and rhombus.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we have the next question. You have to explain how a square is a quadrilateral and B, a square is a rhombus. Okay. Solve this.
Ma'am, solved.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, can I say?
Yeah.
Ma'am, a square is a quadrilateral because basically a quadrilateral is a shape that is closed and has four figures. So square is closed and it has four figures. I'm sorry, four lines,
Four
four
sides.
sides.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Amar, you tell me. Second
ma'am,
one.
ma'am, quadrilateral means
Oh, tell
a
me the
shape
second
that
one.
has
Quadrilateral one is correct. Tell me why is a square a rhombus?
because it has all properties of a rhombus.
What are those properties?
Opposite sides are equal. Opposite
And
angles.
all
Opposite
sides are
angles.
equal.
Uh, diagonals. Diagonals perpendicular bisector of each other.
Okay, very nice. All sides are equal and diagonals are perpendicular bisector. Now I'll give you a question regarding to diagonals only. You have to tell me a quadrilateral. A, bisect each other. B, perpendicular bisector of each other. And C, equal. Okay, these three questions.
Ma'am, I
Tell me.
found the answer.
Also,
Ma'am, bisect each other. A parallelogram bisects each other. Then a rectangle bisects each other. Yes, ma'am.
and
Parallelogram and
the B1 is rhombus, square,
And
right.
height as well.
Ma'am,
Equal.
equal is square and
square and
rhombus.
rhombus.
No, rectangle. See, I'll tell you. For bisecting each other, we will write all four. We will write rhombus also.
How, ma'am?
We will write rhombus also, and we will write square also. Okay, tell me.
Ma'am,
In
can you
order
write
to
kite
be
also?
a perpendicular bisector, it needs to be a bisector also. So if I say the diagonals of a square bisect each other, that is also true. And if I say the perpendicular bisector of each other, that is also true. So
So kite also
bisecting,
bisects each other.
what are you saying?
Kite also bisects each other.
Yeah, kite also bisects each other. So in bisector, you can write all that a parallelogram, rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. All of them are bisecting each other. In perpendicular bisector, you have to be specific. You will write only rhombus and square and kite because they are cutting each other at 90 degree. Equal, you only have square and rectangle. Their bisectors are equal. Their diagonals are equal. For a rhombus and a parallelogram, the diagonals are not equal. Okay. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. The next question is why is rectangle a convex quadrilateral?
I can ask.
Ma'am, can I say?
Rectangle.
Let Amma say.
Okay, ma'am.
Rectangle is not a convex quadrilateral because it does if
It
we
is a
join
convex quadrilateral, but why is it a convex quadrilateral?
because if we join lines to another line, it will not form a different shape.
See, yeah. What happens like this is A, B, C, and D. Or this point we can write like its vertex are raised. What is the meaning of vertex are raised? Vertex are raised means that whenever you will join these 1 and 2, whenever you will join these vertex, any of the vertex when you will join, it will form an interior line. Like you can join A and B, you will trace the previous line only. When you join A and C, you will form a diagonal. When you will find D and A, again you will trace the line. D and C, you will trace the line. D and B, you will get a new line. But the new line is in the interior of the quadrilateral. If you draw like uh, this, no wait, you draw like